In the spirit and celebration of the Beijing Summer Olympics, ReachMD XM157, the channel for medical professionals, is happy to present this month's special series, Focus on Sports Medicine.
How do you envision yourself as a physician at age 65? Retired? Playing golf? Still working full-time? Or bicycling across the country in less than a week? Welcome to the Clinicians Roundtable. I'm Dr. Leslie Lundt, author of You Can Think Like a Psychiatrist, your host. And with me today is Dr. George Bifano. Dr. Bifano is a board-certified psychiatrist in private practice in Santa Barbara. He's the chairman of the California Physician Diversion Program. As part of my ongoing series on physicians with interesting side jobs, we'll be talking to Dr. Bifano about his record-setting bicycle racing. Welcome to ReachMD, George.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm certainly happy to be here, and I'm excited about biking and still being a physician. And to continue with the introduction, I am age 65. I am working full-time. Tended to hold it right down to 40 hours, and I don't do hardly any hospital work anymore. But bicycling has been an important avocation for me for 20 years.
Oh, and how did you get involved in the race across America?
Well, it really started by finding a sport that I could stick with. Going back to 85, I had found that I'd gotten away from hardly any athletic activity with going through training and a busy practice and lots of excuses and raising a family. But in 85, my wife, out of nowhere, decided to give me a bicycle.
Ah, so it's her fault.
Yes. You know, I rode it about twice that year. But then...
Twice in a year?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you know.
So there's hope for all of us.
Well, when you give somebody a gift, sometimes it isn't what they expect.
Mm.
But in 86, she was in charge of the American Cancer Society here, and they had a bike-a-thon. And, of course, she deputized me to be involved with that. So I did start riding, and within 3 months, I think, of training, I was able to ride 75 miles in that American Cancer Society event.
Wow.
So that's how I got started.
Yeah, from 0 to 75, huh? And tell us about the race across America.
Yes. Well, now, this is also a charity event, and, that has a lot of appeal. Probably most of your listeners have not heard of the Race Across America because it is a little bit esoteric, as it is an ultramarathon event. This has been staged for about 22 years, and riders go from one coast to the other. There's a few incredible individuals who do it solo with only a few hours off the bike.
Wow.
And there's also 2, 4, and 8-person teams. And at my age, as you might imagine, I got involved in an 8-man relay. So we took turns riding across the country from Oceanside, California, to Atlantic City, New Jersey.
The logistics of doing that are just mind-boggling. How do you organize such a thing?
Well, the organization is a whole lot more complicated than riding or the physicality. Given that there's 8 men, it means that my turns total 3 hours a day, which is not, well, I've ridden more than that in days. I've ridden quite a few century rides, which is 100 miles in a day, and this averaged about 50. But we also had 8 crew. We had to have a squad van for some of the riders to be leapfrogging ahead and wait for the exchange. And then we have a follow van with crew members in it. And especially at night, the rider has to be in the headlights of the van. There's 57 time stations across the country. The rules are very complicated. Actually, there are 65 pages of rules,
oh my gosh,
65 pages of directions, and 65 pages of maps.
Wow. So when you're not actually on the bike, are you in the van?
Well, let me say first, we split into 2 squads of 4. And 4 is on for 12 hours, and the other squad is off for 12 hours. So during the 12 hours, we take turns riding, driving, navigating, and supposedly resting, although there isn't really much time for that. You have to put in a lot of calories to ride for 3 hours. And then on the 12 hours supposedly off, there's 2 exchanges at each end, which are probably too complicated for me to describe. But then you get into the RV, and you one or two people can get some rest, but basically you've got 5 or 6 hours to drive and service the RV and get food and eat food and wash to the next exchange point. And last year that was a motel, which I don't think we were ever in for more than 3 hours.
Oh, my goodness. Now, who were the other members on your team? Any other docs?
Yes. The team captain is Dr. Flanagan, a radiologist, who actually his sport is rowing. He's world-class in rowing and still gets age group gold medals and still holds an absolute Canadian record from years ago. He and his twin brother, in fact, but his twin wasn't on the team. There was also 2 dentists, a lawyer, and 2 of our friends have PhDs.
Wow, a highly educated bike racing team. If you're just joining our discussion, you're listening to ReachMD, XM 157, the channel for medical professionals. I'm Dr. Leslie Lundt, your host, and with me today is Psychiatrist Dr. George Bifano. We are discussing his participation and record setting in the race across America. And how long did it take you to go all across the country?
Well, in 2006, the age group relay record had been advanced to 7 days, 8.5 hours. So that was pretty much our goal. And in fact, we did get across the country riding night and day at 17.3 miles an hour average in 7 days, 7.5 hours.
So you broke the record?
Yes, by 1 hour.
Wow. Wow. Now, do you think, George, that being a physician helps or hurts your bike racing?
Well, I would say that you have to have a physician mindset, and you all recall the axiom, physician heal thyself, and this is preventive medicine. I strongly believe that every reasonable hour you put into exercise, you get back double in longevity and lowered morbidity. But like everybody else, I ignored that for 20 years until I started riding 22 years ago now. And so I think that philosophy certainly helped me. Now, putting that into effect, whether it's biking or some other exercise, you have to put it into your schedule. You can't just take it for granted. So some people will have a short run before work. I find lately just quitting by 4:30 and having a quick ride, an hour or less, I still get home at a very reasonable time, and that works out well. Also, my office has a shower, so if I have one cancellation, I can go for a 12-mile ride during the one-patient hour and have a shower and feel very refreshed. It makes it a very short day.
Mm-hmm. And do you do riding pretty much every day?
Well, I have missed 2 days so far this year.
Oh, this year?
Everybody's different. So what's important for me on that is I happen to be compulsive, as are 93.7% of physicians.
Right.
And it's easier for me to get into a routine and just do it and make time for it rather than start skipping days or looking for the time. It's just part of the routine. And I do ride longer rides on the weekends. The other big thing that really helped was I got involved with a biking group of professionals. I think half are doctors and dentists, and there's a few lawyers and other professions. But the group has been together almost 30 years.
30 years?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I've only been with them half that, but it gives a lot of cohesiveness, and then there's a lot of social aspects.
And peer pressure.
Yeah, that means that I ride with them every Saturday morning. Somebody takes turns hosting and occasionally during the week, but it also gives me incentive to want to ride on my own so that I can keep up with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If you're just joining our discussion, you're listening to ReachMD, XM 157, the channel for medical professionals. I'm Dr. Leslie Lundt, your host, and with me today is Psychiatrist Dr. George Bifano. We are discussing his participation and record setting in the race across America. Okay, the big question, George, are you going to do it again?
Yes. One of the primary purposes here is that this is a charitable event. There's about 300 riders, and each rider or team has their own charity. Many are involved with diabetes research. Our group supports a local child abuse prevention and treatment organization called CALM, That's for child abuse, listening, and mediation. And I certainly feel it's a very worthwhile charity. And, we've raised 5 figures for them last year, and we plan to do that again. The team will be a little bit different, but we do have 8 riders and 8 crew. And this year we have a 11-bunk large bus that used to belong to James Taylor, so that should be fun.
Well, that's cool. Now, I'm curious about the way back. So you get to Atlantic City, and then what do you do on the way home, back to California?
Well, actually, not to be picky, but this year we're going to end up in Annapolis.
Oh,
the
okay.
route is very similar. A lot of challenging parts, including 11,000-foot passes in Colorado. But we all fly home, except for a couple people who will come back with the bus.
Oh, okay. So a couple of unlucky people have to drive back.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, any advice for our physician listeners who may want to try their hand at bike racing?
Well, again, I think it's broader than bike racing or even riding. I really consider myself a rider, and this happened to be an esoteric event that on a relay basis I was able to do. But I think you just have to make time. It's very important to do. And, there will be that time if you plan for it, either before work or even if you run for 20 minutes. If you do that regularly, it does maintain your body. And the other thing is, if you get with a group of like-minded individuals, and probably most any small or even smaller town in the country does have bike groups, and they will have bike groups of different strengths. So I think that's the key to get involved, to ride regularly. Does not have to be every day, but I think a lot of people get in the traps that they think, I've got to go work out at the gym for 3 hours and it takes the whole evening. I think if you religiously leave the office at 4:45, jump right on the bike, ride for 45 minutes, you still get home at 5:45. That's not bad.
No, not bad at all. And you just might get a world record under your belt, huh? And thanks so much for being on the show, George.
Thank you so much, Leslie. This was fun.
We've been talking with psychiatrist Dr. George Bifano, who has been discussing his record-setting participation in the race across America. And he's going to do it again this year. I'm Dr. Leslie Lundt. You've been listening to the Clinicians Roundtable on ReachMD XM 157, the channel for medical professionals. We welcome your questions and comments, so please visit us at reachmd.com. Our new on-demand and podcast features will allow you to access our entire program library. Thank you for listening.
You have been listening to Focus on Sports Medicine, part of this month's special series on ReachMD XM 157, the channel for medical professionals.